Okay, so now we're on the front page of Canvas, and hopefully most of you guys know how to get access Canvas and get to the course for CD22. So you go to courses, and whatever courses you are linked to with Canvas should pop up. You want to pick CD22, and it's going to take you to the main page. What I'm going to do right now is different from what you will do because I'm going to change it to student view so we can look at what you see when you open up the class. So this is what you should see now, the course content. So this is where the syllabus and writing guidelines, and this is where I will try to post flyers and things that I share in class. I'll try to post them electronically here as well. This is where you can go at any time throughout the semester and post questions, okay? If you have personal questions that are only about you or something, you know, you want to notify me of something, then you can inbox me a message. But if there's questions about the class assignments, just clarity about class assignments, anything related to the class in general, you'll post it here. That way your classmates can benefit from the answers, and also your classmates may know the answer and may be able to respond to you quicker than I can. So what I want to focus on tonight is week 3, and also scroll all the way down, the instructions for completing the lesson plan. So the lesson plan process. Okay, so those are the 2 main topics, and I'm going to do the lesson plan in a different video. So right now I just want to show you where we are tonight. So according to your syllabus, if you were to click and open your syllabus for week 3, it'll tell you that we should be looking at, I believe it's part 2 of your early learning theories book, social emotional development. So last week you were looking at part 1 and part 2 of the book, theories as a framework. No, I'm sorry, just part 1 of the book, Theories as a Framework. So there's a PowerPoint here. So what I want you to know is that each chapter of your textbook section in the book is going to cover one particular topic, but it's going to have it from each theorist's perspective. Okay, so what I did is kind of summarize part 1 of your textbook, but only from Piaget and Erikson's perspective. I just wanted to give you an example also of how you would be breaking down the chapter when you do your group PowerPoint presentations. So it just gives you an idea. Each section in the book is going to talk about that same topic, but from different theoretical perspectives. So if you haven't reviewed, no, you didn't get to review these because I just posted them today. So these are the PowerPoints from part 1, which you should have read last week. Okay, so now we're going to go to week 3, and so for today you were supposed to read part 2 of your book on social emotional learning and each theoretical perspective. So these PowerPoints do not align with the textbook, so these are just resources from other places that talks about building relationships and social emotional competence. By tonight in class, when you're looking at this, you should see a PowerPoint for class business. The video for this Canvas overview that we're talking about right now should be here. You have a building relationships discussion activity tonight, and then also the video for the lesson plan process should be here. Okay, so when you open the module for week 3, you should see all of the resources that you need for week 3. Okay. Let me see, what else was I supposed to tell you? So I wanted you to know where to go for the modules, to see the PowerPoints, to know where the lesson plan forms are, which are down here at the bottom. You're going to need that over the weekend for next week. And then lastly, and this is the discussion activity for tonight, and you'll know more about that in just a minute. Okay, so I think this is it for my Canvas overview. Let me make sure. All right, so I'm going to close out, and you guys are going to begin a discussion on building relationships. And hopefully you've read part 2 of the textbook already, so you're coming to the table with already informed and have some ideas. If not, that's fine. Just have a discussion. And then you want to make sure that before you try to create any lesson plans, that you review these resources. Okay, so this comes from a website. This is not my personal PowerPoint, but I want to show you how it talks about building relationships and why this is important. A lot of times student teachers want to jump right in and just start working with kids, and we expect children to just automatically respond to us and connect with us because we are the adults. But we have to treat children like they're human beings and they're people. And just like anyone can come in our presence, in our space, and we may not care to engage with them. So we have to realize that children may feel the same way. So your discussion tonight is going to get you to think about those things and come up with strategies on how to engage with children and get to know them and build relationships with them. Okay, so this PowerPoint, it may give you some ideas to help you with your lesson planning, but the reason why I posted this is for you to have an understanding of why building relationships is important. Okay, and then you will be more open to coming up with strategies to work with children because you realize how important it is. And remember, we talked about the 3 different types of practicum students last week, and you don't want to treat anything that you do throughout the semester as if it's just an assignment. So instead, you want to look at this activity and this lesson plan you have to create as a way of really getting to know the children better so that you can develop a relationship with them and be able to work with them and help them to develop more as you go on throughout the semester. And I like this slide because it gives you different ways that you're either depositing into children or you're withdrawing from them. And everything we want to do it in a way where we're depositing into children. So when we listen to them, we observe, we reflect and expand, and we model. These are different ways that we deposit into children. But instead, if we just say no and don't and stop that, get over here, I need you to sit down right now, and if you don't do this, then you're gonna be on a timeout. These are ways that we are taken away from the potential and the possibility of really supporting and helping children. Okay, so I hope this resource will be good for you. And so here are some ideas, but like I said, they may not necessarily be lesson plan ideas. They're probably more so just ways to be a more intentional teacher. Just things that you would do day in and day out as a teacher, not necessarily creating a lesson plan. Okay, so your goal is going to be to come up with ideas for actually creating a lesson experience. And remember developmentally appropriate practices. Remember your age group. If you're working with toddlers, that experience might look very different from a preschooler, especially time-wise. And then remember to make the experience tangible. What is something that the children can hold on to while they're engaging. Okay? And that's it for now. I'm going to keep this going and just walk you into the discussion activity for tonight. So you're going to, let me see if I can find it. Here we go. So what I want you to do right now, and you're going to first work independently, and you're going to respond to the questions that's below on the bottom of this sheet. And if I'm correct, you guys may all have a copy of this in your folders. And then you're going to come up with 2 responses to each question for yourself first. So that's important that you think about this for yourself. The next thing I want you to do is pair up with somebody, or work with small groups. So if there's like 6 people at the table, split up into 2 groups, okay? And then you want to share your ideas with each other. And out of that small group, you want to come up with 2 best strategies or 2 of your best responses for each question, okay? And then someone from that small group is going to record those responses on the paper that's at your table, okay? So when you're all done, I think there's probably 6 or 8 tables in the class. There should be 6 or 8 papers that has ideas from that you guys came up with, but your best ideas. So if me and Francis was working together and I had my initial responses and Francis had hers, after sharing, we might say, you know what, Francis, that's a real good idea you have for working with a child who is shy or withdrawn, so let's use your idea as one of the best responses, okay? So that's what you're going to do. And then you're going to share out with the whole class. But I will need someone, at least maybe 1 or 2 people, to volunteer to collect those table papers and post all those responses on Canvas by 12 o'clock tomorrow, okay? And that way, all of the ideas that we consider to be the best ideas will be posted on Canvas, and then that you can go over the weekend or starting even tomorrow afternoon coming up with your lesson plan, okay? Here are the questions. So your responses should really be to one. You should have 2 strategies for 1A, 2 strategies for 1B, and then 2 strategies for number 2. Okay, so how do you get to know new people or just other people? Sometimes they're not new, but you just don't know them that well. What strategies do you use to learn more about them? And what strategies can you use if you and or the other person is shy, quiet, withdrawn, slow to warm up, and are introverted? So this is people in general, not necessarily children, because even when you're going into a classroom, how do you, try to connect with someone in your class, another student in the class? So you can look at this from adult perspective, just relationships in general from adult perspective. And then question number 2 is, consider the children you've been observing at your center. What are some strategies or activities you can implement with them to help build relationships or get to know them? So now we're being more specific to children, so this should be very developmentally appropriate. Your responses to number 1 may not be developmentally appropriate, but they just may be good ideas for getting to know other people and building relationships, which is something you probably need to work on doing anyway with the aides and your mentor teacher in the classroom. But number 2 is very specific to the children, and you probably will be drawing more from the responses to number 2 as ideas for completing lesson plan number 1 on building relationships. Okay, so Francis may not be able to answer questions for you tonight. I'm recording this while I'm sitting in the airport. My flight is delayed, and I'm sending it to her, so it wasn't a plan that Francis will teach tonight. The plan was that Francis will press play on these videos and just facilitate the agenda or the flow of tonight's class, okay? There should be a paper on each table that says questions, and I'm asking that any questions you have that you want to just record maybe on the paper if you don't want to post it on Canvas, that also someone volunteer to collect those questions and post those questions in the questions discussion area on Canvas. So if you go to discussions, you'll see a place for questions, and then the volunteer who's going to collect the activity ideas tonight, you're going to post those in this discussion area. All right, that's it.